How's it going? I'm going to show you how to anchor your MW machine. I'm using a base for example. First thing we're going to do is obviously set the machine down onto the ground with no spacers at all. You're going to mark your holes, and you have to be very specific when you mark your holes because the anchors have to go in straight. Save time instead of watching me drill with a 5/8 Mason bit. I already drilled the holes. Now, as you can see, I already set the front anchors in. As you notice, there's about 2 inches sticking out, and that's because of the type of machine that we're going to be anchoring. The way I first have it is I just set washer with nut onto the wedge anchor with about 2 inches in. You set your anchor, you hammer it into your hole, and you leave this much sticking out because you're going to need that for the gap with the grout and also to be able to bolt onto the machine. So after you have your anchors hammered in, 5/16 deep socket, you're going to tighten down. The reason we're doing this is because we want to set the wedge anchor before we place the machine on top. As you can see, the anchor has came up about a 1/2 inch. That'll happen depending on your floor, and obviously need the wedge on the wedge anchor to set. Now, you need to remove your nuts and your washer. Now, when you have all four done, front and back, you will place the machine back over the anchors. Now, also remember that even though that the wedge anchor has been set, if you drop it too hard on the anchor, you may lose it. But if you maintain and be careful with it, you'll be fine. So, as you get the machine over the anchors, you have to take into consideration what you're going to be doing for grout. So, what I use and what we use, we'll take the same nuts out of the 5/8 anchor kit, and we're going to lay them under the frame of the machine, front and back, and it doesn't have to be directly next to where your anchor is. So now we have about a 1/2 inch gap between the machine and the floor. Now, depending on how bad your floor is, you could simply do a washer and a nut, and you use a level out the machine. So with this gap, on the machine that you're doing, you're going to take off the side panel. There's a very small, slim side panel on the bottom of the machine. You're going to remove that, and you're going to fill your anchor, your grout, from the side, the front legs over here, and in the back. You don't have to be concerned with grouting in the middle of the front and the middle of the back. So after you do your grouting, you're going to set your washers, and then set your lock washers and your nuts. Now this is after you do your grouting and you have it filled in. And after you have that all tightened down, unfortunately I forgot an extension back here. You'll tighten down on the bolts, tighten down the anchors, and you will have a little bit of spillage of your grout. Obviously, when you're setting your grout, you don't want it to be too wet, but you also don't want it to be too hard. And then after you tighten it, leave it for 24 hours, let your grout dry, and you could run the machine.